now the MCU has a disease that Wakandan medicine cannot fight. Okay, somehow no one is talking about the major change Wakanda Forever made to the MCU and a very deadly and troubling kind of concept Wakanda Forever introduced into the MCU. That's fine. They don't have to talk about it. We're going to talk about it. They chose to kill T'Challa. The ramifications of that should be monumental, and let me explain why. In Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, T'Challa dies from a very vague and ambiguous disease that is incurable. It was very heartfelt and very emotional. The problem with that, or the consequences of that, is that now the MCU has a disease that Wakandan medicine cannot fight. And maybe that's not that weird. Wakanda probably hasn't cured every single disease. There's probably something they're still working on.
I don't think so. Bullet wounds don't just magically heal overnight.
They do here, but not by magic, by technology.
But it is a little troubling that the supremely advanced Wakandan technology and civilization couldn't cure this disease, in addition to the patient also having the heart-shaped herb in them. So this is a super soldier in the most advanced society on the planet, and the disease is stronger than all of that. It's a badass disease. And we get no information, no context about it. We don't know if it's genetic. We don't know if it's hereditary, which calls into question his son that we now have. Is he at risk for it? Is it something he caught? Because if it's something he caught, that's a very big deal, because that's a plague scenario at this point. What happens if somebody else catches it? What happens if M'Baku, who's now the king, what happened? Because we know it can kill Black Panthers. So Shuri's not immune. With all her technology and all the heart-shaped herbs, anybody's game at this point. And if it's something that you can contract, then that's the biggest weapon against Wakanda and really any force in the world that you could have in the MCU. And that, honestly, with all of the ups and downs of Wakanda Forever, that's the part that kind of gets me the most, because this is something that's not a plot point, really. It's not addressed by any of the characters. It's not, it doesn't hold any weight in how the film or how anything in this era of the MCU plays out. And so really, what purpose did it serve? You could have just had T'Challa die in battle, have somebody else in the Black Panther suit fight, die, and we have all the same emotions that the beginning of that film had. But giving him a disease to die by creates all these complications, and I don't want to say plot holes, because they very well could address them in the future. But to me, it was a missed opportunity. If you wanted to do that, if you wanted to have it parallel Chadwick's death so distinctly, then cool, but just make it a part of the film. Because if this was a disease that came from the Talokans and their different strain of vibranium is what made it so resilient, then to me that would have been a much more natural point of contention between the two countries, especially if it was an accident. If it was an accident, then that would explain the initial conflict and still leave room for the reconciliation later. And then we could have gotten with the irrelevant Riri Williams subplot. I love Riri Williams. I like the character. I like the actress. Just her part in the film, irrelevant to the outcome of the film. You could take her out, film plays out the same. And so to me, the entire film would have felt more cohesive, even while dealing with this real world tragedy. But who knows? Maybe in the third film, or maybe in some other Marvel property, somebody will get a vial of this unbeatable disease and release a plague. And maybe that's how we'll get Marvel Zombies or something like that. But to me, just a virus or some sort of illness, because we don't know what it is, some sort of illness that can kill a super soldier under the care of Wakandan medicine. Remember, this is the society that in the first movie, a bead from their bracelets inside of a mortal gunshot wound stopped the man from dying long enough for them to get him back to the country and do surgery. And he shouldn't have been able to walk or survive. He wasn't going to survive in Western medicine, but go over to Wakanda and he's a brand new man. So a disease that renders this society inert and the super soldier serum on top of that, none of that can withstand this. That, to me, that's very, very, very troubling. And to me, that should be a plot point. It should have been a plot point in the movie, but it should definitely be a plot point going forward in some other part of the Marvel universe. But it won't be. And we'll just have to watch the movie and suffer through that for all time now. So, but what do you think? Am I just tripping? Should I have just like put my real world glasses on and just overlook that part to get to the rest of the film? Or should they have gone this route and made it more of a central point in the film? Who knows? You let me know and we'll talk about it. We'll see you next time.